Pull everything there in
Alright, I'm gonna call this public hearing order at 6:32. We're here tonight to hear comments from the public on the zoning change on a 50-acre lot just south of town. I'm going to ask everybody to please be respectful of the person that's speaking, that has the floor. I have a lot of side conversations, as has happened in the past, and it's hard for everybody to hear and understand if other people are talking. Plus, whoever's talking deserves the right to be heard. Like when it's your turn, you want everybody to hear you. So, with that said, we're going to move on. We're going to start with Mr. Josh Brooks. He's going to explain what his project is and where he's at now. This has been, we discussed earlier, off and on now for 2 years. I think you've gone through a couple of different financiers, and I think you found one that you really like this time. So, you know that it's backing you 100%. So you want to see if we can get the project moving forward, and so I'll let you describe it. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Just to introduce myself a little bit, my name is Josh Brooks. I'm a local guy, born and raised here in Mansfield. Graduated from Mansfield and actually lived here in Venus for a couple of years back on County Road 219. I like the town. I'm here on behalf of the seller of the property and my investor, who, if you have one of the booklets, his name is Kurt Hodges, and he's also local. It's probably one of the best things that you could ever have for an investor, is a local investor, someone who does business here in Fort Worth or the area. But he's been in the mobile home business for about 40 years. He actually owns Legacy Housing, and we have been kind of going down this road with the city of Venus for a long time. I've been, a little bit about my background, I've been in real estate and mortgage finance for the past 15 years. And I've seen just some terrible things happen in the industry. I grew up poor. We grew up in a mobile home myself. Really never lived in a brick and mortar home. My parents still live in Mansfield. But I got into the business in mortgage finance, where the industry has just gotten to the point to where no one can purchase a home. Your friends, your families, your cousins, people that that want to buy a brick and mortar home, a single family residential house, they can't do it. Everybody knows someone who's trying to buy homes. Your kids that just can't get past the rules and regulations of the government that back these loans. Yeah, the banks are getting a lot more strict, and it's a real gamut at this point. So I got out of it. I got the opportunity to work for a very large manufactured home owner out of California. He's an owner out of California. I worked for him for 2 years, and I was a sales manager for a mobile home park. And I saw some really good things. I saw some bad things, and I saw some good things. But I've lived in brick and mortar neighborhoods and single family neighborhoods also, and I've seen good things and bad things happen in any neighborhood. The people that live in mobile home parks are just people. They're regular people. There's no hike in crime. There's no statistic that says that a mobile home park has more hike in crime. I know a lot of us lived back in the day of the old trailer houses that come up where they're stacked on top of each other, and They just letting anybody in, and there's no governing of the mobile home park. You know, today is 2016. I've sold and managed parks where retirees are coming in, paying cash for their houses, wanting to live in the mobile home park. They just want something where somebody maintains their house, maintains their yard, and they feel safe in a community that's thriving. And just to kind of go over some things, and a lot of people have a misconception about value with mobile home parks. And being in the industry for 15 years, people just, a lot of it just really just unknowledgeable information about how housing value is determined. Well, housing value determined, if you have a single family residence, your housing value is determined by the houses that have been sold within the past 6 to 12 months, that within 1 mile to 2 miles that are from your house. Now these are homes that have been sold, not a rental. It has nothing to do with a rental park. I've seen probably over 2,000 appraisals in my time, and not one had a comment to where they were concerned. Not one appraiser made a comment where they were concerned about the mobile home park that the house was backed up to. It has no effect on value. So if your house was worth $2,000 and your house is backed up against the mobile, or $200,000, and your house is backed up against the mobile home park, they're not going to look in the mobile home park for comps. They're going to look down the street at the same type of house that you have, 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom, however many square feet, and that's where you get your value, are your neighbors, not the mobile home park. For example, I believe everyone's familiar with the city of Mansfield. The city of Mansfield has probably over 6 mobile home parks within the city limits. A lot of these were there before a lot of the houses were built around them. There's a mobile home park here. There's one right next to it. This is the same street. There's one right down the street from it. There's one up here, and they're all within almost 1 mile from each other. Now, the builders, the people that come in, these are the mobile home parks. They're all within 1 square mile radius. Now, the builders that come in are not afraid of these mobile home parks. These are the houses that sit around these mobile home parks. These are $3,000 and $4,000 houses that back up to the fence of the mobile home park. The parks were there first. The builders came to them. They didn't say, oh, well, it's a mobile home park, let's go get land somewhere else and just kind of skirt around it. They built up upon the mobile home parks. They were not afraid of them because they know that these mobile home parks doesn't have effect on the value of their homes. People are still going to buy. These houses are filled. These neighborhoods are filled. People are still going to purchase homes around the mobile home park. Now, all these mobile home parks are at least 25, 30 years old. They're older than me, a lot of them. I'm 38, I'm almost 40 years old. And a lot of these mobile home parks were there when I was being raised in Mansfield. And over time, with the right investor or with the wrong investor, over time, a mobile home park will kind of go down. Some people will bring homes in that are just unsightly. And then, you know, that causes then poor management of a mobile home park. That causes the stigma that you or the community sometimes feel that, oh, well, you know, it's going down and, you know, there's poor management and this is just going to be crazy. That's on the developer. I mean, that's on the owner of that park. The good thing about this, and Venus should be super proud of it, is that we have an investor who has endless pockets. I'm poor, I don't have any money. I came up with a great idea and I went and found it. It took me 2 years to find it. I went through 20 investors, and this guy is probably the right guy for the job. The reason why is because he owns a manufacturing company. He owns Legacy Housing. we're gonna always have beautiful brand new homes. Always. And our square footage for each lot is 4,500 square feet. So we're not talking jumping out of your backyard and jumping in, and when you take one step and you're in the next guy's backyard. You have a nice large yard with 1,600 square foot homes that are brand new in a beautiful community that's ran like an HOA. The good thing about this project is that we talk about within city limits. Hardly any of you know where the property is. I hear a lot of that. Well, where's the property? Well, you can't see it. If you're worried about looking at a mobile home park, this property is so well located that you can't even see it where you stand in Venus. You have to go past the schools and then start looking to the north, and then you actually would see the mobile home park. If you're afraid to look at one, you would have to go and find it. This is where this mobile home park is within city. This mobile home park, the land was attached to the street, and somebody annexed it to the city. So we just got lucky. Found a great piece of property that was annexed to the city, that is outside, really, the city limits, close to the prison, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. It's going to have the look and the feel and the make of a brand new apartment complex. This is where the property is. I know a lot of you don't know where it's at. You guys know where it's at, right? Okay. The property is on County Road 214. Here's the town of Venus. Here's your town. The mobile home park is way down here. We are way out there. Raising property values is what we're going to do.
And taxes.
Hmm?
And taxes.
Well, what's going to happen is our property value is going to be raised because we're going to be bringing water, sewer, a lot of that kind of thing, stuff like that we're paying for.
Where's the sewer system going to go?
Sewer system's right down the street where the schools are. So we're going to run a line right down the street.
Well, I mean, they're already too small now, because I can smell it, take my kid to school.
Mm-hmm.
So what's gonna be done about that kind of stuff? How's those kind of items gonna be increased, like the water pressure's already low? The
We're not
sewers-
even on city water.
Well,
We're on
here's-
a well.
Here's the deal.
So that wouldn't even affect us.
Our water is not going to affect your water. I've also been in meetings with Mountain Peak, and we have agreed, and you can look on one of your pages, where the Googled engineer Robert Childress at Mountain Peak. We're paying for a $75,000 water connection between Mountain Peak and the city of Venus. The only purpose is that is so we can have hydraulic water flow. And what that is that's just enough water that has to come through on a daily basis, just in case for an emergency, if a house set on fire, we would have to have that much water come through on a regular basis. Now what this does is that creates more water flow for the city of Venus. We're paying for the pipe. And the only thing it does for our park is if we have a fire, God willing, that never happens. But if we have a fire truck can come out, put out the fire without affecting any water flow at all. So the water connection, what that does is whenever the city of Venus runs low, that connection opens up. It's a water-bound connection. It opens up and it continues the flow of water to the city of Venus. Hmm?
I'm with Aquafina, so is that gonna mess up my water?
Not at all, no ma'am. No, no one's water, no one's sewer is gonna be messed up.
How many homes are you proposing putting on the 50-acre plot?
We don't know. You know, we know that the capacity of the park can hold anywhere between 100 to 300 homes.
100 to how many?
100 to 300 homes.
Okay, I got a question for you. The city of Venus is having enough trouble now maintaining those roads out that way. In fact,
Yeah.
214 is in dire need of
214
repair as
cannot
well.
handle the traffic.
Now, here's
You're gonna
another,
add a lot more traffic, a lot more people, a lot more kids. Now, how can that not affect us?
Yeah.
well, what happens, guys, is when a developer comes in, especially one with bountiful resources, when a developer comes in, roads are done, roads are redone. County Road 214 is gonna look nice. If you're concerned about County Road 214, you've got a developer that's gonna come out there and redo the street.
I'm concerned about the entire city of Venus.
That's right. No, I don't know the specifics, and I don't know how to word it or verbiage it.
Well, I wonder why they hadn't done anything in several years to it anyways. I mean, it's hard for us to believe it hadn't been touched.
I think that's between the city of Venus, but our
Yeah.
plans as developer is when we go out there, we're planning, you know where the stop sign is, right in front of the elementary school?
We know that.
Mhm.
We're planning to start right there and redo that County Road 214 all the way up to the end of our property.
So you as a developer plan on doing that?
That's right. That's what developers do, you know, we do roads, that's what's gonna happen. So we're planning on doing that road all the way up until the end of the property. Yes, sir.
Respectfully, sir, I know where the property is, it's right at my front door.
Mhm.
Am I understanding that you, or the development, if this is approved, will be receiving city services? Is that what you think? Sewer, water,
Yes,
We-
you'll be getting city sewer?
yes, they will.
City sewers, okay. Okay. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
have you given any consideration to how the city of Venus is gonna handle the extra traffic
Oh, yes.
at the school in that area?
It is been discussed and we have a plan.
There needs to be a limit on how many homes, 300 homes on
Well,
50 acres.
First of
Yeah.
all, there is a
Lot.
limit. We've already discussed that with the developer and Mr. Brooks. They're only gonna develop in stages that the school and the streets can handle. They're gonna start off with, what we discussed, 75 to 100 homes, and they won't increase it until the roads have been repaired, fixed, new roads have been built, and the school has increased the size of their facilities to handle any additional children. Yes, sir.
Okay, so 75 to 100 houses, families. Our schools are already overcrowded, there's no way they can handle that. So in order for this to take place, the school would have to be increased beforehand.
That's already taken care of.
Right now, they're building 200 homes out at Patriot Estates. What are we gonna do with their children?
Along with another
Well,
suggested,
you're talking about putting
that's
more
already
in.
established, that's
I
already
mean,
established.
That's why the school has a bond proposal in May to increase the school size and system.
That's already an established.
Because,
place.
you know, growth is coming, whether it's in a mobile home, whether it's in a brick
Yeah.
home, whether it's in an apartment.
Does Venus have any statute of how big a property has to be for a home? I mean, there's gotta be here in town. There's gotta be a number
Wait a
of,
minute, sir, what'd you say?
how big the property needs to be to put a home? I mean, are they planning on putting 300 houses out there? I mean, that's a lot of homes on 50 acres.
The good, and I'll
That's a lot of homes.
the good thing about city ordinance is city council has a lot of control. If you read over the manufactured housing ordinance for the city of Venus, the council has a lot of control over what we do. A lot of control. It's almost like we can't do anything unless we get approval from city council. They have to approve our engineering. They have to approve everything that we do as far as moving forward. So the good thing about this is that the city has in place ordinances that handles those kind of things. Now, we plan, my investor and I, we plan to grow with Venus. We're not gonna come out here and put 300 houses out all at one time. We're talking about a year and a half before the first house even gets on the ground. There's a lot of engineering and construction to be considered, a lot of pipe laying, a lot of roads to lay. So there's not gonna be 300 homes all at one time. It's just gonna be in phases, for example.
So we're gonna have all those construction people too coming out there putting
Right now,
in houses.
Well, here's, no, that's not how it works. Your construction people
Yeah.
aren't gonna be in your way. They're gonna be on our property.
How they gonna get on your property?
They're gonna drive there. They're gonna drive.
They're gonna go down the bad 214 road.
Yeah, and up 108, right in front of my place.
No,
You're
we're,
gonna annex all 214 into Venus now?
214 itself's already been annexed.
214 itself is.
Just the
One at a-
street is, not
Excuse
the
me,
properties.
one at a time. 214 is in the Venus city limits all the way up to the prison. It has been since the prison was built back
I thought it
in
was
the
just the
80s.
road, not the.
Well, it's just the road, yes.
Yeah.
Now, they changed the law, the state's changed the law, where you can't just go in and annex roads and go out and grab property. But it wasn't that way for years, and back in the 70s and 80s, Venus did a lot of that. We annexed 109 all the way up to the, power,
213.
supply station out there,
Okay, yeah.
because TXU wanted in our city limits because our taxes were better than what Midlothian's was, and they was afraid Midlothian was gonna come annex them. But Midlothian is a home rule city, and they are governed by different laws than Venus. Venus is a type A general law city, and we cannot, on our own recognizance, go out and just annex property. The owner has to request to be annexed into a type A general law city like Venus. So if
I don't want my property annexed into Venus, you can't do
as
it?
long as we're type A general law city, and that's based on the size of the city, we'd have to grow to approximately 5,000 to 6,000 population before we could apply for a home rule type system. So, in the meantime, to answer you, ma'am, no, we cannot just come take your property and put you in the city limits.
Thank you.
But that does also mean, from what you're saying, that sooner or later you can push the little people out
How's that?
and bring in bigger people, a better class of people.
How you figure?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're gonna be putting all these houses over here, and what about the people, the taxes going up and the water and being already, you can't even have a garage sale without a permit, you know, I mean, stuff like that.
If taxes go up,
Can't
then
build
the
nothing
property
without a
value is
permit.
going up.
You know?
But as long as you're not in the city limits, those ordinances don't apply.
Okay, so like if I,
Because we live right here behind the high school.
at Rancho Villa. So-
Yeah, it's still not the Venus
Right,
city
we're in
limits.
Johnson County, so this is not gonna affect us?
Not at all.
Nothing.
No, ma'am.
Well, as far as
Well,
I'm
not right
concerned, the water
Yes.
system's not gonna affect you,
Yeah.
the sewer system's not gonna affect you. But I think y'all are on Mountain Peak, are you not?
I
No.
Aquafina.
We're on, we have our own well.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
private well.
All right, well then
But
it
I'm
won't
on
affect,
240,
then that won't
I am
affect
Mountain
you
Peak,
at all.
so.
Yes, ma'am? I'm sorry. I'll get
Well,
you.
I have a big problem with this because, for one, we have some dead trees there and some of Venus's history that needs to be preserved. There's a windmill, there's remnants of a house, there's also a well. And on that property, yes, sir. And the hawks keep down our rat and our snake population, and they hunt there. And hawks are a protected species. That's number one. Number two, we have a hard time with Venus's fire department helping us because they are volunteer and there's not a whole lot of them. And I'm not saying they don't do their job, because they do. Buzz here used to be the fire chief. I'm not saying that at all. But, a couple of years ago, my father-in-law died in my front yard because it took over 30 minutes for the ambulance to arrive.
And fire department.
And the fire department. And that's not gonna change. That's gonna get worse with that.
Well, I beg to differ with you, whether it's this or.
They're volunteers, they
I
can't.
understand, ma'am, but volunteers do the best they can, but if they're volunteers, they probably have a job. It's like, we are all volunteers, we don't get paid for
But that
being on
also
the
puts a
council.
greater demand on them.
And I understand, and with greater demand, we're going to have to go like Alvarado did a few years ago, like Midlothian did, many years ago from a volunteer department to a full paid staff department where the response time will be better, but the cost will be more. It's like the gentleman said, our taxes are gonna go up. The firemen are not gonna work for free. The policemen are not gonna work for free now. In the meantime, CareFlight has started stationing an ambulance here in Venus versus in Alvarado, which helps a little bit on the response time. I know it doesn't help your situation, and my wife got sick about a year ago, and it took them 15 minutes to get to the house and take her to the hospital. And that's part of living out in the country. I'm sorry, but as we grow up, we're going to have our own ambulance system, we're going to have our own full paid fire system. But if we did it right now, your taxes would double. Yes, ma'am.
We're right on 214, right in front of the field. If you're putting sewers in, do we have an option to get connected to the sewer system?
Not until you're in the Venus city limits. You cannot be on a Venus system, water or, well, until you're in the Venus city limits. So you have to be annexed in to have that option. Yes, sure.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're talking about annexing that in down there. Okay, you've got the Luation outfit, that community is annexed in.
Well, let me correct you. The property's already annexed in. It's been annexed in for over 10 years.
Oh,
All
the property
this-
he's talking about going on?
Yes, all this is changing the zoning. It's zoned
Okay.
agricultural right now, and we're discussing changing it so it allows mobile homes to be on there. It's just a zoning change.
Yeah, but what you're trying to do is make a little bitty piece of Venus here, a little bitty piece of Venus here, a little bitty piece of Venus over here, and it's all scattered everywhere. How is the fire department, the police department, and everything else gonna be able to take care of all this? Because we're not a big town, we are a little town.
But we're not gonna be little forever.
Well, we're not gonna be little forever, but we're little right now, and that's what matters is right now.
So we don't plan for the future? I mean, we have to plan for the future.
Okay, you have to plan for the future.
And in the meantime, if you understand what our ETJ is, and most of you do live in our ETJ, it's property that other cities, no matter what their situation is as far as their home rule, cannot annex our ETJ land. And then when Venus is capable and that our people are ready to be annexed into this Venus city limits, we can annex that ETJ into our land. But other cities can't just come take it until the property owners or we are ready to bring them into the city limits. And that we are presently trying to expand our ETJ so we have a more consistent boundaries instead of like it was in the 70s and 80s. They just went out and grabbed a piece here and grabbed a piece there, and it looked like a octopus city limits. We're trying to make it more of a congenial, but it's a process, and we have to go to the landowners and ask them to ask us to come to our ETJ. We can't just go do it. We have to have their request. Yes, sir, you got a question?
Yeah, the zoning change,
Yes, sir.
will that nullify the city ordinance against manufactured housing in the city limits?
No.
No. All it would do would be allow it on this piece of property, and these are not technically manufactured homes, are they? What you're discussing putting out there is not technically manufactured homes, they're mobile homes?
They're mobile homes, they're manufactured houses.
Manufactured houses, so it would just allow it in that particular area. It's like giving a variance, but it's a zoning variance in that one area. It will not open it up generally within all over the city.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You don't understand?
No, I really don't. If you have a city ordinance
Yes.
against manufactured housing or trailers, and this piece of property is in city limits, and the zone change doesn't affect that.
Yes, it does. It does. It virtually gives a variance on that property.
Okay.
On that property and that property only.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes,
I live just on the west side of that property. My backyard butts up to it. I would like to have a privacy fence there, and I guarantee it, they don't run a road through on Latham Boulevard.
The good thing about the city ordinance is it requires us to have a privacy fence.
I can't hear you.
It requires us, the city ordinance requires us to have a privacy fence completely around the whole park. The
So
city,
I'll have my privacy fence.
you will have your
Yes, sir.
privacy fence. Yes, sir.
well, I don't know if it'll be right on the property line, it'll be on their
It'll
property.
be on our property, so there will
There will be a privacy fence around.
Well, I have a 10-foot easement from my property to the
Land.
fence line over there.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be an alley, but now it's just weeds.
Well, the fence will be on their property.
But now then, I'm in Johnson County. I'm not in the city of Venus.
Right.
And that doesn't matter. The city ordinance the city ordinance protects everyone here. If you've read the city ordinance, it's 7 pages of rules and regulations for a mobile home park, and it protects everyone here. I mean, you should look it up and you should read it, and you would feel a lot more comfortable about how this mobile home park is going to be ran, about the things that we have to do and the things that we want to do to make sure that we run a good mobile home park. I mean, it's going to be as hard as getting into an apartment complex. We're going to do background checks. We're going to do criminal backgrounds. We're going to, just everyone, you can't come and say, oh, we're going to fill these houses. Our investor is a brilliant man. He's very successful, and our property management style is going to be the same as any high-end apartment complex that you would go to. We're going to have beautiful, brand new concrete roads. We're going to redo County Road 214. And that builds a lot of equity.
2 quick questions. Are y'all with Legacy Homes? How did you put it? Brick and mortar homes? Legacy Homes?
Legacy manufactured housing.
Okay. So there are Legacy Homes.
Yes,
Also.
there'll be Legacy Homes. Yeah.
I'm talking about a builder such as Patriot Estates. They build, I call them stick houses.
Oh no, we're not with the single family
with
brick and mortar homes. No, sir. They're just he only builds manufactured
You
housing.
gotta do
Okay.
the road work
Yeah.
before you start bringing stuff in.
We would like to. We would like to do. Well, and that's going to happen once we get our approval. Then we're going to work with the city council to figure out in what stages are we going to go.
Cause you're gonna have big trucks bringing stuff in.
There'll be some larger for a little while, very sporadically, and not on a daily basis. There will be some.
You got bases, you got gravel,
That's
you
right.
got
Yeah.
sewer pipe, you got
But
all
what we're
kinds of
gonna be-
trucks that are gonna be running our roads that are already a mess.
Well, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be restructuring that. It's got to be redone somehow, and why not at our expense?
But I'll say this, why would you fix the street and then run those heavy trucks over and turn them back up?
Right.
I mean,
Because they're so bad.
and then they're gonna be really bad again. Just a second, Joe, I'll get to you, sir. You got your hand up?
So the homes you're moving in, they're gonna be rentals?
They're going to be a rental. It's a rental park, and the reason we want a rental park is that we have control over a rental park. If there are going to be some tenants that are going to come in and they're going to want to own a home, but these are good people that have saved $10,000 and $15,000 down and have good jobs or retired, and they're going to want to come and live in this community. We're going to cut the grass for everyone. It's ran just like an HOA. We're gonna hire locals to come in and cut the grass. I mean, we've already talked to a bunch of guys out here that own lawn businesses. There's gonna be a lot of good revenue that's gonna come from the place.
Joe, you have a question?
Yes, sir. I've attended most of these meetings over the last several years. I'm hearing 2 different things at one time, and I think tonight you said these will all be new homes.
Yes, sir.
Several months ago, you turned to 4 or 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Would you clarify?
Yes.
Will they be brand new homes or will they be used homes?
With the new investor, with Kurt Hodson being the owner of Legacy Housing, he has brand new homes. They're gonna be all brand new houses, every last one of them.
I think this is the difference in, he changed investors, and this man has much more that he's willing to invest than the previous investors, so they've been able to upgrade,
So we could just let install all new homes.
We're gonna install all new homes.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just, about the population for the school and stuff. I've complained about the traffic to the police officers, and they said that the school is supposed to monitor and have somebody helping the kids cross the street and stuff on 214. And nothing's ever been done, and we don't have kids in school anymore, and we have trouble even driving up and down by 109 because all the cars are blocking it instead of getting other kids in the back.
And you can't get to the stop sign. And I've talked to the superintendent myself about it, and I also talked to Mr. Hernandez about it as well, because a kid's gonna get hit. I mean, it's only a matter of time before that happens. We have no sidewalks.
So ask me for
It's
sidewalks.
nothing but a ditch, but we're county. County won't put in sidewalks.
I will put in sidewalks.
And,
Just to go across the road.
and
Yeah.
you still have to cross the road, and will the dog catcher come out there and handle just that area? Because we don't wanna deal with
If
dumb
it's in-
dogs.
if
We
it's
already
in-
have to deal with coyotes.
If it, I don't know, we're gonna send him out there for a coyote, but if it's in the city limits, even if it's a coyote, he'll be out there, if it's in the city limits. Now, if down the road on weekend, if y'all wanna come to the city limits, then the dog catcher will come to your house.
Well, but you are making it a coyote problem because you're taking their land away. And you're bringing in more animals, which is what they're gonna go after. Which means they're also gonna go after our dogs.
Yes, ma'am, I understand, and right
So
out here
it's
where,
creating a
where
problem.
Patriot Estates is building these, eventually 1,400 homes, which will triple the size of Venus if they do that, if they, the economy holds, if they build all the homes that they bought land for, over 350 acres, they're looking at 11 to 1,400 homes. I grew up out there, I plowed ground, I was a farmer out there on that, my dad and my uncle was out there on that ground. There was snakes, rabbits, jackrabbits. You see any jackrabbits in this part of the country anymore? Not much, they chased them all out. That's progress. They did it up at Little Lambs, they did it. We cannot tell people they can't build, we just can try to control it.
Well, that's the thing, we have too many houses out here and not enough businesses to support them.
And it's becoming more of a bedroom community than an industrial community, but we can't force people. I mean, we've given incentives to get industrial in here, and they still haven't come because everybody wants to be located on 35 or 287, not kind of in the middle where they got to drive to it. Sabre, they picked that Alvarado because they wanted to be right there close to 35. I mean, sometimes, as they say in the real estate market, it's location. And we're not in the optimal location for industrial. So we're becoming a bedroom community, unfortunately.
And that's why we're gonna become a ghost town like we did in the 50s.
A ghost town? Seems like you're gonna be a lot of houses around here and ain't nobody living in them while they're building them.
Exactly.
If
That's
they're
my
gonna be a
point.
ghost town, I mean, everybody has to have a place to live. They're fit to put in industrial over here in Midlothian, and it's gonna create over 400 more jobs right across the street from, TXI and Chaparral. Those people gotta have a place to live.
Who's
And,
coming
you know,
in?
and a lot of that housing they're building in Midlothian, those jobs won't support owning a $300,000-400,000 home. So they come over here and buy $225,000, maybe $180,000 home. And if they can't afford that, maybe they can live in a nice rental home. I mean, you still raise their children and have a place to go home and watch TV at night. I mean, you know.
Then we won't be a small town and we won't be a country town anymore.
Yes, ma'am, this is true, and that's unfortunate. I remember when there was only 400 people living in this town, and it's way beyond that now.
We lived here when there was
I knew
300.
everybody, and unfortunately, everybody knew me. And they knew my dad, so when I got in trouble, I didn't get home before he found out. We don't live in that town anymore already. It's gone, and it's, to me, it's unfortunate, because it was a pretty neat little town. But people, it's gonna grow whether it's this park or some other developer, it's coming. We have plans to help with the traffic. I will tell you right now, because I don't know if it's gonna happen. It will happen, I just don't know if it's gonna happen in this year, 2 years, or 5 years. We wanna take 214, go behind the football field, extend it all the way out to 67 and make another major thoroughfare into town and through town and out to the school system to alleviate a lot of the traffic that's over here by the post office and coming through main town.
That's where the new high school's supposed to go.
Well, they're gonna need a road too. I mean, you know, it's gonna grow whether we want it to, whether the coyotes want it to or not. It's coming, and we just gotta try to manage it best we can. Now, he has a list here of signatures that he's going around town that people that are not wrote on here they were not opposed to this park, and it's, you know, just signatures after signatures after signatures. I understand that a lot of these people probably don't live there, out there, and buy that piece of property.
May I turn in my petition too?
And I didn't just get signatures. You know, walking up to a homeowner and explaining a project. I've been probably in Venus for the past month or two, knocking on doors and having long conversations with a lot of the homeowners here. And the long conversations were, you know, they asked me a lot of questions, and it's hard to get one signature. But I have, I think, almost 200 signatures here of people who, once we educated them and let them know, look, we are not, this isn't going to be a half-assed, excuse me, but a half-done mobile home park. This is going to be, this investor has the capacity to build 30 of them at one time if he wants to. This is going to be an absolutely beautiful mobile home park that Venus should be proud of. It's going to cost about $20 million to get done. So you're going to have this beautiful monstrosity of a mobile home park that's really out of city limits.
And right in front of our homes.
Yeah, out there where we live, that's gonna make
It's gonna make all of our stuff look like crap. All the trees are out there now.
Well, just talk to us about, you know, we've talked to some of the other people about helping out with new homes, some of the neighbors, bringing out new homes and doing something with the older ones, selling them and giving them to some of the old fields. I mean, there's a lot of options for you if you're concerned about your older mobile home. We own the manufacturing company. We own the financing. So there's a lot of options for our neighbors. I mean, we would like to see the community look a lot better.
I hate to rush this along, but, you know, we were supposed to start the city council meeting at 7, it's already 7:15. This is not the only public hearing that we're gonna have on this. We're required to have 2 public hearings before the council can legally take any action on this request, so there will be another public hearing. I believe maybe next time we need to start it at 6 instead of 6:30, so we'll have a little more time. Is there any other questions, pertinent questions anybody wants answered tonight?
Will there be a playground park in the community?
Yes, sir.
We've already requested that. Yes, sir. Okay. Is there any questions from the council? Ms. President?
Has this land been bought already?
Yes.
It has been
Yes.
bought? Okay, when you say you're gonna put a road in on 214, what kind of road are you putting in? Are you putting asphalt, are you putting chip seal? Or
Just whatever the city requirements are. That's what we're going to go with, the city requirements.
That's patchwork. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, they just fill in little patches here and there.
No, it's going to be redone.
Have you been down to 14?
Yes, 1,000 times.
Yes.
If not
You
more.
bet you drove real slow, didn't you?
Yeah, it's not pretty.
We fixed one on 9, the first complaint I had was, there's speeders down this road. Well, before there was enough holes, they couldn't speed. So we did fix it, yes ma'am.
So, do you own the land?
I don't own them, the investors own the land.
And the investor is the person that wanting to put in this mobile
Yes.
home park?
Yes, right now, the person who owns the land is the investor that we were going with in the first place. Now, he has been talking to our investor, and they're putting in money or whatever's gonna happen. But yeah, the land is owned by the first investor that went in with me on this deal. Now they have a partnership, and things might happen between them two.
So the for sale sign
That was put,
should not be up there.
it really shouldn't.
So it's already a done deal?
It's not a done deal. It's not a done deal until the city gives us the approval for manufactured housing for that property.
I think what you're trying to say is a conditional sale based on the approval of the zoning change. It's like, you go buy a house on the condition that you sell your house. It's a conditional sale. Yes. Yes, sir.
There is a big difference in a manufactured home and a mobile home. Try buying your insurance. If you go in as wanting to buy insurance for a mobile home and a manufactured home, there's several $1,000s difference.
Okay.
So he keeps using them back and forth, mobile home and manufactured home.
Well, these
Two
will be
different
both-
things. One has a deed, one has a title.
So you're talking about mobile.
We're talking about mobile home.
Mobile home.
Okay, well,
And
that's different than
they
manufactured.
can be called manufactured housing also.
No, manufactured has a deed. I know, I have one.
Manufactured homes are attached to the ground.
Modular has a deed, that's a.
Modular, that's right.
We live
Modular has a
directly across the street.
Right.
But it's also called a manufactured home.
Any other questions for the council? Right.
Just keep in mind also that the code enforcer has every right to go over there and say, hey, well, time out. This house needs to be tore down or replaced or whatever. And so he can work with us also to make sure that that place will be a nice place.
Yeah, one that's, it's all gonna be rental houses, you said.
Yes.
Will they have option to buy later on?
Later
The reason
on.
that I'm asking is, somebody's gonna go in there, move out 6 months, tear that place up. Are y'all gonna keep those houses up? Or are you gonna move houses back in?
Well, being the manufacturer, we have the ability to rehab anything that we want at a very low expense. So a renter anywhere in a brand new home, apartment complex, if they're gonna stay there 6 months and tear the place up, somebody has to go in and redo it.
That's one property versus 300.
That's right, yeah, and the apartment complex has 250 to 300 doors. So they deal with the same type of in and out, and we'll be able to do the same thing. If someone comes in and tears a house up and it's unsightly, we bring it out and we put a new one in. We own the homes. So there's a lot that we can do that most manufactured mobile home owners cannot do or will not do.
Well, if y'all would, please consider what you've heard tonight. Any other questions come to mind, write them down, make a note, come to the next public hearing. We'll probably have it at 6 to 6:30, so we'll have more time for discussion. But nothing can be done, I assure you, that nothing can be done legally by this council until we have at least 2 public hearings, and this is just the first one, so there will be one more.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
One more question? If we're considered where I live, Johnson County, then how come I have to pay Venus school taxes
Because
instead of Cleveland?
Venus School is in Johnson County, and you live in the Venus School District in Johnson County, so you pay the school taxes to the school in the county that you live in.
And all the other taxes I paid for Cleveland.
And you pay Johnson County road taxes, Johnson
Yeah.
County taxes, Commissioner Court taxes, and then you also pay the Venus school taxes. And if you lived in the city limits, you would also pay the city of Venus taxes. You'd have 3 different taxes, so, which I
Never
do.
understood, because I'm out of the city limits, and I thought, should I be paying them instead of here?
It's all, the county and the school all collected in one. Okay, I'm gonna adjourn this public hearing at 7:21. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take about 5 minutes.
I think you said Joe.
I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 7:30. Will you please rise? Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight thanking you for all your many blessings. We thank you that we live in a country that we can come together and make decisions to govern our lives. We ask you to guide this council as they make these decisions. We ask you to be with our fire, EMS, and police. We ask you also to be with our men and women in our armed services around the world. We ask this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if y'all heard, but our city secretary has turned in a resignation, so tonight we have Ms. Rhonda Grimmel. They know R, and that is a Gimmel, helping us. In the meantime, she's helping out. She has been being cross-trained, so the city bills will be paid, the city employees will be paid. So we're in the process of going through the process of hiring a new city secretary, but in the meantime, she's graciously helping us out. So will you do roll call for us?
I sure will. Okay, Mayor Burgess,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Davey, absent. Councilmember Razak,
Present.
Councilmember Wood,
Present.
Councilmember Scott,
Present.
and Councilmember Tremaine.
Present.
Thank you. We have a forum. Announcements and presentations by the mayor. Cell phones are to be turned off or placed on vibrate silent only. No conversation or comments from the audience is permitted unless specifically called upon by the mayor. Please remain respectfully quiet.
I'm working on it, sorry.
Thank you, Chief, for showing us the example of what we're not supposed to do.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. But anyway, moving on. The citizens' public comment period. Do we have anybody sign up for public comment?
We did. We had to. I'm not sure if they're still here or.
Buzz Brown and Tiffany Dempsey.
They both left. Okay.
Yeah, they left.
I guess maybe they got theirs in. So anyway, we'll move on to, what's this on here for about the public hearing? Why was that included in this part of the agenda?
That's.
Mistake, okay, I thought so. The consent agenda, all matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted upon by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Under the consent agenda, we have approval of the minutes of the January 11, 2016 City Council Workshop and the January 11, 2016 City Council Special Meeting. Number 2, ratify the payment of bills for the month of January 2015.
Say 2016.
It's supposed to be 2016, January 2017. Ratify the payment of bills for the month of January 2016. That's all that's on the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the consent agenda? If there's no questions or comments, then the floor is open for a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion by Councilmember Prezak, second.
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Scott. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed? Motion carries. Moving along, items for individual discussion. Number 3, discuss and consider approval of resolution number 01-2016. It's calling and ordering the general election to be held by the city of Venus, jointly with the Venus Independent School District on May 7, 2016. for the purpose of electing 3 city council members, place 3, 4, and 5 to the Venus City Council, approving the joint agreement, designating locations of polling places, providing early voting information, ordering notices of election to be given as prescribed by law in connection with such election. So, this is pretty straightforward. We have an election every May for the city council. This year, place 3, 4, and 5 are up. And we have to officially call by resolution the election. So is there any questions? Comments? The floor is open for a motion to approve resolution 21-01-2016.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution number 01-2016.
Have a motion by Council Member Hernandez, second by Council Member Wood. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed, motion carries. Excuse me. Number 4, discuss and consider approval of resolution 02-2016, authorizing Police Chief Mike Pate to move forward with a grant awarded for the body-worn camera program to the Office of the Governor, Criminal Justice Division. Chief, can you tell us where we're at?
Sure, yeah, we submitted and received preliminary approval for right around $8,700 in grant funding for body cameras. The city has to match funds. I think it's around $1,800 in order to purchase those cameras. The final numbers aren't set exactly because there can be some manipulation and maneuvering on the amount of cameras we're actually going to purchase over the next couple months. But basically what this resolution is one of the first steps in the process. We also have to work with the DA's office in formulating our body camera policy and procedures and make sure they're going to accept our body camera video. So there's a few other things to be done, but the application finalization process doesn't actually start till March 1st. So this is kind of getting a jump start on the resolution process.
I know you've been testing different body cameras. Have you found one that you prefer yet?
Right now, the ones we're testing, personally, I'm kind of leaning towards a WatchGuard camera. When we get new patrol vehicles, we're going to be moving to a WatchGuard in-camera system for the vehicles. The body camera that's made by that same company also syncs with those in-car cameras. And the downloading process for us to be able to burn videos for the court and all that is very easy. Also, the resolution is much greater, and the night resolution is much greater on the WatchGuard cameras. So right now, that's kind of where we're leaning, if we can get the 10 cameras for the right price.
So, if the grant fully funded and matched with the city, how many cameras would that?
We have to get 10 body cameras for that. For that right around $10,000, we have to get 10 body cameras for that.
Okay. Any other questions?
You said it's a match grant.
There's a city portion to that. So the city has, I think it's around 20%. The governor's office is doing, like I said, right, $8,500, $8,700, somewhere in there, and then we match it. The total grant project's right around $10,000.
Do we have the money in your department?
Yes, we
to
do.
Do that?
Yes, sir.
And special projects.
Okay.
Any other questions? And I'll open the floor for a motion to approve resolution number 02-2016.
Make a motion, we approve resolution number 02-2016.
Motion made by Council Member Prazak, second.
I'll second.
Second by Council Member Hernandez. All in favor? All in favor? Motion carries. Number 5, receive annual racial profiling report by the chief.
Yes, sir. Before I did that, I wanted to make sure to mention real quick. Tom, will you stand up for a second? Council haven't had a chance to meet Tom Russell. He came over to us from Ferris, has a lot of experience over there, was our National Night Out coordinator, had really a lot of success with that program last year in Ferris, and we're hoping he brings that same kind of thing to our community. I know we had a National Night Out program in October that was not really well planned since we just came on, but we're looking forward to things he can do for the city. You want to say anything to him, Tom? He's overly qualified. We're really happy to have him here at the police department.
No, I'm glad to be here. I mean, it's been a great group of guys and girls here. I've met a few of y'all so far, so hopefully I'll get around and
get a chance to meet everybody. I'm very down to earth, so, you know, if you see me out, even if I'm driving through, I don't live here, I live in Waxahachie, but if I pass through, you know, you can approach me, I'll talk to you anytime, any subject. So, and I want to bring that to the city, get everybody together. You know, I heard a little bit of the meeting earlier, you know, everybody's kind of at ends on the stuff, but, you know, at the end of the day, I want the city to grow and everybody come together and just make it a great place to work and live. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
And Tom's going to be actually moving to night shift here soon, as soon as he gets out of training. So we'll have himself, and then Chris Rodriguez will be our night shift officers. So I'm sure you guys already had a chance to look at the racial profiling report. This is the racial profiling report that's required by state law that police departments do every year by March and present to the city council. As you can see in 2015, on page number 3 of your 4-page packet, it lists the number of citations and breaks those down in percentage of contact numbers. What I'd like to do is, it's probably easier to compare on page 4 of 4, because we can compare 2015 numbers to the racial profile report received last year in 2014. You can see that in 2015 our stops were down a little bit. However, we were also down in manpower significantly over that period of the year. The important thing for the racial profiling report is towards the bottom of the page, where it talks about our contacts based on Caucasian and race ethnicity. Our percentage for 2015 was actually 66.59% for Caucasian, and that actually went up a little bit from 2014, which was 64.43. Our African American contacts rose just slightly to 9.19%, and then Hispanic origin went down just a little bit from 23.36 down to 21.18. You know, this is an important report to make sure that our officers are avoiding racial profiling, which is, we have a strict policy prohibiting that practice. You know, this is something that I'm going to monitor, and as we build these reports year after year, we'll continue to put that historic data in there so you guys would be alerted to any drastic changes in our racial profiling statistics.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Moving along, number 6, discuss and consider approval of a term of agreement on vehicle idling limitations presented by the Chief. You're back on? No. Back up, Chief.
This is an MOU that the City of Venus has previously had. Our MOU with TCEQ is expiring, and this just renews our vehicle idling memorandum with TCEQ and allows our local officers to enforce that restriction on vehicles over 14,000 pounds in gross weight, idling over 5 minutes while parked, as opposed to the state enforcing those restrictions. Allows our local officers to enforce those restrictions.
So basically, it is allowing our officers, giving them the authorization to enforce.
Correct. The state law.
The state law. Any questions? Comments?
I know, I mentioned something about the train last time about it. How about the train?
This does not apply to rail. This is only vehicle traffic gross weight over 14,000 pounds.
I know back then they used to sit right out there all night long running.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's been as much of a problem. I noticed there's a few more trucks parking in town, you know, now, and it's mainly a part about education. And one thing is, once we renew this memorandum, we can also get signs that North Texas Council of Governments will supply to the city. Maybe we can put up some of the signs around the city streets, just to let the truck drivers know that they can't idle for more than 5 minutes. So it's part of an education campaign as well as an enforcement campaign. And just like we've done on, you guys have probably seen some of the red cards we're putting out for traffic. You know, we're really trying to educate the community on our parking expectations. We'll do the same thing for the truckers and make sure they understand what our expectations are before we go write those tickets.
Well, being that I'm in that field, there are trucks that run on natural gas. There's trucks that run on diff, if you know what that is.
Yeah, I've heard of that, yes.
And it's a mixture with the diesel that makes it burn cleaner. And they have stickers on the side of the truck, and it says, you know, clean air. And supposedly, the way I understand it, those trucks are exempt from this idling standards.
There are exemptions in the packet.
Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I believe it's on page 2 of the rules of applicability and exemptions. But there are exemptions that our officers would, and we would only be enforcing what state law lets us enforce, so it's not gonna be anything extraordinary.
We didn't print one for each, there's 38 pages long, so we didn't print out the whole thing, but we do have 2 copies of here if someone's interested in reading the whole thing.
I just had that my one specific question. Anybody else got any questions or comments on this?
And the weight on the vehicle was what now?
It's 14,000, greater than 14,000 pounds. And one thing that does, some of your, local delivery trucks, like if you're delivering bread or something like that, while they're bringing stuff in, most of those are under 14,000 pounds. So it's going to mainly apply to your semi trucks.
Because there's some trucks that are offloaded their groceries at the school, and the truck will be running all that time offloading.
There is an exemption for that if they're actually in the process of making an active delivery. So this is for the most part, this is like a truck driver who's going to pull over and sleep and let the truck idle with, if they have a sleeper. That's predominantly what this is going to encompass.
This is just a side note. I've never really, I understand why they don't want dirty air, but, how the truckers supposed to sleep in July without the air conditioner on.
Absolutely.
I just, it seems, they want him to get a good night's sleep so he's not dangerous on the road, but they're gonna tell him you gotta sleep in an oven. It just doesn't make sense, but I know it's all about the clean environment.
Yeah, and this isn't implementing a new law for the city. This state law already exists and is enforced by state troopers and the TCEQ people. This just allows our officers to enforce that already current state law.
And then how about if they're in the city limits but out away from town and park at their location how would that work?
I believe it, I'm not sure, Mayor, maybe you can talk to that more. If in the state, if you're outside of the city limits, is that something that the state's going to get you on?
Yeah, they can, but I've been driving for 30 years. This has been an issue probably for the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
I've never been issued a ticket for it. I've never been stopped by a state trooper, county, or city and asked to turn my truck off.
Yeah.
So it's something they can enforce, but they don't heavily enforce.
And I think probably what we would, we would probably get called on it more frequently if it were a problem, like if they parked outside of your neighborhood on 67, just pulling over the side of the road, and you were hearing that truck running out there. It would allow us the opportunity to go out there and enforce the law and get that truck either moved or turned off. But we probably wouldn't be driving around looking for this type of behavior frequently.
Thank you. And most of the newer trucks that have been built in the last 5 years have one of these exemptions in them, the DEF or the natural gas, and they're all starting, all the new regulations require it, and most of the trucks that are 8, 10, 12 years old that are the ones I think they're targeting, but I'd say there's not heavy enforcement. It's more like like he said, if you park close to a neighborhood and somebody calls in and complains, they have a law that's in a process that they can do something about it. Well, there's no more questions or comments. I'll open the floor for a motion to approve a memorandum agreement on vehicle idling limitations. I have a motion by Council Member Scott, second. Second by Council Member Wood. All in favor?
That's abstaining.
Opposed? Abstained? We have 3 in favor. Ms. Prazak, Mr. Woods, and Ms. Scott, and 1 abstention, Mr. Hernandez. Motion carries. Number 7, discussion and consider approval of a noise ordinance number 422-2016, an ordinance of the city Council of the City of Venus, Texas, ordering the amendment of Chapter 6, Animal, Section 6-1 to delete 2 definitions, provisions, and et cetera. I mean, would you like to explain what we're doing, James?
With noise ordinance, or?
Yes.
Well, basically, this is a branch off of what we did in the last workshop, where Cass, myself, and Officer Halstead were able to talk about the importance of the noise ordinance, and I believe Cass got some of your input on what a good ordinance would look like for the city council. This is important to us, as we've talked about before, being able to enforce some of those things that are causing a quality of life issue for our citizens in the community. And I believe I've looked it over, and I think Cass has done an excellent job of kind of completing, the ability for citizens to address this issue on their own while filing a complaint and making a log and gathering some of the evidence themselves, as well as promising to testify, while allowing officers to also to respond to those problems if we need to. You think this is, you've had a chance to
No, I
look
agree.
over it?
Yeah, it's, and the issue we had too in the past is with the animal, by state law, we ran into, if you have somebody complaining about, it's one house complaining about another neighbor with their dogs, it's just one complaint. Now, technically, you can go door to door and say, everybody, are you having an issue? So with this, instead of having to go get affidavits and spend all that time about a barking dog, you can go ahead and do a citation.
So, under the current ordinance, noise ordinance we have, you're saying is we have to have 2 separate households making a complaint about one specific dog.
Yes.
And this would change it how? You only need one complainant plus the officer observing the noise?
Well, the officer independently could observe the noise and it be in violation, as long as it's beyond the reasonable person standard. Wouldn't necessarily have to have a particular complainant, but the benefit to it is when you're thinking about a barking dog, it's 2 complainants for that particular offense. And so if on Wednesday a dog's barking and one neighbor calls and complains, and then Thursday happens, and a different neighbor calls and complains, it's a different noise complaint. That's 2 different violations. So you still only have one person complaining. You could theoretically go back and talk to the person from Wednesday, but that requires a lot of travel back and forth and trying to see if the person's bothered on Thursday that was bothered Wednesday. It's really confusing for the neighborhood.
Trying to catch them at home.
Right. And so what this allows is just a reasonable standard for citizens. Plus, if the police go out and we're not observing the noise, and we can't issue the citation, we can refer you the steps that you need to take as a neighbor. So you can say document the noise, record when it's happening. You can even record it with your phone and be able to document that for the court, and then go file your own complaint, and that way it kind of removes the police from the entire process. If a neighbor is causing a lot of problem for you, you can get them into court and hopefully resolve the situation without even the police being involved.
Is there, for anyone that hasn't had an opportunity to read the ordinance, is there any other significant changes?
Well, I think it adds some really good things, such as the music problem that we maybe have with stereos and things like that. So it's not just about a barking dog, it's about any quality of life noise problems in our city that's based on a reasonable person standard. So if we go out and somebody's doing something that's unreasonable, then there's an opportunity to us to address that issue and issue a citation if we need to. However, by policy, what we're going to do is make sure we issue warnings as much as possible in a given 24-hour period, and then if we've been out the house a second time, then we'll start issuing those citations most of the time.
Any additional questions or comments from the council? Well, if there's no additional questions or comments, then I'll open the floor for a motion to approve the noise ordinance number 422-2016.
I'll make the motion to approve the ordinance number 422-2016.
Have a motion by Councilmember Hernandez, second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Prazak. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed, motion carries. Number 8, discussion and possible action on whether to accept or reject landowner David Hogg's request for 2 tracts of land to become part of the Venus ETJ. It's ordinance number 423-2016. This is the continuation of what Ms. Stowe has been doing for months now, and we've been also accepting landowners into our ETJ to protect them from being annexed by other cities that are coming this way. So this is just another continuation. Is there any questions or comments on this ordinance? You want to stop? Okay. Well, if there's no questions or comments, I'll open the floor to approve ordinance 423-2017.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance 423-2016.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hernandez, second by Councilmember Scott. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed, motion carries. Number 9, accept resignation from City Secretary Angie Wade. Now, this is unfortunate, but Ms. Wade she had a lot of experience as a city secretary. She had a lot of experience in the finance end of it, and she had the opportunity to move along to a larger city that can unfortunately pay better. Significantly better than we could, and I can't blame her a bit. So, if there's any questions or comments about her resignation, if not, I'll open the floor to a motion to accept Ms. Wade's resignation from the City Secretary of Venus. Motion by Ms. Scott, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Prazak. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed, motion carries. Number 10, discussion and consider appointing a city secretary for the city of Venus. At this time, I'm going to adjourn this meeting into executive session so we can conduct some interviews at 7:56.
We'd be happy to take you.
All right, we'll take you early. If she wants 3 weeks, just to make her happy, we'll work with that.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Whatever it takes to
get you here.
Get you here happy.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, moving along to agenda item number 11, discussion and consider approval adding the new appointed city secretary, Ms. Kathy Glenn, as an authorized signature for the city accounts to include bank accounts, City National Bank and others, grants and any other accounts in the city's name. And we have to do this so when we go to the bank to get them to add you as a signature, they have to have this from the city. Passed by the city council. So is there any discussions?
I have some discussion.
Yes.
Can you do number 12 first?
Yeah, you gotta remove her.
Well, she did that on purpose in case we elected not to.
I know why she did it.
Okay.
She and I talked about
Yeah.
this, but we need to do 12 first.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Skipping number 11, going to 12. This should have been put on the agenda the other way around. Discussion and consider approval regarding removing Angie Wade from being an authorized signature for the city accounts to include bank accounts, City National Bank and others, grants, and any other accounts in the city's name previously granted authority to her. So, can I have a motion to remove her from all city accounts, Ms. Angie Wade?
I'll make a motion, we remove Angie Wade from all city accounts.
We have a motion by Councilmember Prazak, second.
I'll second that
Second
motion.
by Councilmember Scott, all in favor? All in favor, none opposed, Ms. Wade will be removed from all accounts. Now, back to number 11, discuss and consider approving adding the new appointed city secretary, Kathy Glenn, as an authorized signature for the city accounts to include bank accounts, City National Bank and others, grants and any other accounts in the city's name. So we have a motion
I make
to,
a motion to appoint Kathy Glenn as the authorized signature for city accounts and bank accounts and grants and other accounts in the city's name.
have a motion by Councilmember Wood, second. Second by Councilmember Hernandez, all in favor? All in in favor, none opposed. Not wrong. So, presentation of the monthly department reports, Sergeant Chief.
Yes, I'll take about an hour, is that okay?
That's what, take your time, Chief, we're running out of schedule.
Yeah.
There we go. Hey, calls for service for January, 94, total incidents were 19. Arrests went up to 7, accidents were 2. There were 176 traffic stops or contacts. Out of those, there was 112 citations issued and 103 warning issued. You guys will see on the number of calls there, there was 2 pretty significant drug arrests. The drug arrests were 14.9 grams of methamphetamine, was a pretty large amount, and also the drug arrest, I think it was 1.8 ounces or grams of methamphetamine. Those are both pretty good arrests for our city. We don't take those people off the street. In department training on page 4, Officer Rodriguez, Officer Gates was able to attend traffic stop training, and Officer Dill attended his TCIC and CIC training update. This is in addition to the other training that they do on Police One training, which is an ongoing process for us now. Community programs are ready to launch our Explorer program on March 7th. We should be pitching that to the schools here next week. We'll be spending a day with all the classes at the high school talking about the Explorer program. And then the body camera grant commission monitor as well. So, any questions from you?
Yeah, I got a couple things. At the top of the report, can you give us this month's and last month's?
Sure.
To the side, that way we compare the two.
Okay.
Just to see the ups and downs or whatever, and a lot of that has to do with holidays or whatever, so we have to understand that.
Okay.
On the Explorer program, can we get that out besides the school, because there's a lot of homeschool kids, or like my daughter, she goes to a different district or whatever.
Right.
And stuff, so.
Okay.
That way other kids that might be interested can have that opportunity also.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're waiting on a brochure. We'll put it on our Facebook page and then on the city website. Should be able to put it on there as well. And then it's going to be an ongoing recruitment as well. So if you're not on by March 7th, that's okay. You can still sign up for Explorers as we go. And that may take us a couple of meetings to actually get enough kids into the program and everything, how we're wanting to go. What we're hoping to do is kind of create, once we get a return on how many people are wanting to join, kind of see what the budgetary expectations are for this. The kids are going to have to pay $25 a year for themselves to join, and we're going to provide some uniform type stuff. We're going to try to keep it as cost effective as we can. And we do have some uniforms donated by the Waxahachie Police Department to help cut the cost. But there will be some budgetary expenditures from time to time on Explorer, but I think it'll be more than worthwhile to have those kids in our city participating with us in those programs. So. And yes, I will do that. This report I probably I've been meaning to get to this, and this is just a report I guess you guys have been receiving for a number of years, so we can work on keeping that and some more information. Thank you.
I believe you're standing in for Mr. Roker.
Yes.
No accent. I want to hear any accent.
My department has been extremely busy, working very diligently all over the city this month.
I know you're not talking about the lawyer side of it.
Yeah, exactly. No, something about Christmas decorations. There was a new phone line put in somewhere. They moved someplace, and there's an underlined part. These lines need to be replaced with a bigger one for sufficient flow. I don't know what that means, but it needs to be done immediately.
Okay. Get right on that.
There also was something about a donut shop. Oh, install the new sewer and water tap for the new donut shop.
That's why City Hall is all on that.
Yeah, that's why when I was talking to you today, I heard like drilling.
Yeah, the jackhammer.
Jackhammer.
Every day.
Yeah. He did something about flushing sewer mains all around town, which sounds like a childhood sing-along.
Yes.
And then there was monthly meter reading. He turned something off, he turned something else on. And then there was a flushing on the dead ends of the waters.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. We did a great job.
Did you my report? I think you should be mine.
Thank you for that update, Stephen. Appreciate it. City Administrator, rocking along, man.
Otherwise, it's not going to be nearly as entertaining.
Okay.
So basically, I met with Patrick from Public Management. We got started on working on the planning details, sending him all the ETJ ordinances to try to start cleaning up the city limits. We met with the school officials to coordinate for the elections. And then interviewing applicants for city secretary and public works and the seasonal workers, so HR took up a lot of the time this month. Caesar and I met with the Trinity River Authority, that's our quarterly meeting. I met with Red Cross at the Civic Center and recertified us to use that facility for emergencies. Diana is with Johnson County Economic Development. She's working with the Mexican food restaurant for Chapter 380 incentive sales tax rebate, so that should be coming here next month. The rest of it's pretty standard stuff. Just continue to work on the ETJ project and attended the bond proposal meeting. And tomorrow, the railroad will start their resurfacing project. Supposed to be last week, and then they changed it to this week with no notification.
Is that a one-day thing, or?
It looks like it. They didn't notify us that they pushed it a week. We just saw it on the sign like everybody else, so I don't really know. I know their intent is to do 157, and then when they complete that, they're gonna do Hickory, so, but I don't know. It could be another 2 or 3 months before they come back for Hickory. So. Any questions?
Any questions for our city secretary before we move along? Not you, Kay. Or city secretary, wherever you are. All right, thank you. And
Thank you.
so we're gonna have to, if you want to go anything, you can. We're gonna have to go back to executive session and talk about some real estate property. We're looking at